year would be that joint practice in week 1. And then this year, just feel like that's what this team needs to get ready. Try to every single year make decisions based on what the guys need.
No one expected the Cleveland Browns' biggest preseason controversy to come from inside the locker room. But that's exactly what's happened. Kevin Stefanski, a coach once praised for his poise under pressure, now looks like he's hiding something. And fans believe it starts with one name, Shedeur Sanders. Why is the most talked about quarterback on the roster mysteriously sidelined? Why is the head coach suddenly dodging direct questions he used to answer with full confidence? And how does Dillon Gabriel, a player critics say hasn't earned the spotlight, keep getting chance after chance while Shedeur gets buried without explanation? From eyebrow-raising depth charts to perfectly timed injuries, something isn't adding up in Cleveland. If this is all about developing talent, then why does it feel more like dodging accountability?
Also set the pecking order following, meaning quarterback 2, 3, and 4, or will there be a competition right through Cincinnati week?
Yeah, well, I'll talk to we'll have the team in tomorrow, so I'll be able to talk through a bunch of different things with our players. But in terms of, where people are, first string, second string, those type of things, not really thinking about that.
We're breaking down the timing, the tension, and the truth behind this quarterback chaos. By the end of this video, you might just be asking the same question everyone else is. What is Kevin Stefanski really afraid of? Kevin Stefanski isn't new to criticism, but this time the spotlight feels hotter than ever. His latest quarterback decisions have ignited a storm that even the most loyal Browns fans can't ignore. After picking Dillon Gabriel to start in the most recent preseason game, the backlash was immediate. Critics called it tone deaf. Fans called it political, and nearly everyone agreed. Something isn't right. But what really set people off wasn't who Stefanski chose. It was how he responded when pressed. Gone was the confident coach who once laid out the quarterback depth chart with zero hesitation. In his place, a dodgy, vague version of Stefanski. Sidestepping questions and buying time with phrases like, "We'll make a decision in a couple of days."
What do you plan to do at quarterback for the dress rehearsal game, and what is the timeline for naming week 1 starter?
Yeah, I want to get through the next couple days, but certainly that's something that we're going to do here sooner than later.
This isn't just indecision, it's avoidance. Fans aren't buying the act anymore, especially when it feels like every move is designed not to win games, but to avoid the Shedeur Sanders conversation altogether. Is Stefanski protecting the team or protecting himself? Because the moment Shedeur's name enters the room, Stefanski's answers start to fall apart, and people are starting to notice. If there's one name that completely shifts the energy in Cleveland's press room, it's Shedeur Sanders. The moment he's mentioned, Kevin Stefanski changes. His body language tightens, his words slow down, and suddenly, the clear-cut answers turn into half-hearted phrases like, "We'll see," or "day by day." And that's what's raising eyebrows. Because just a few weeks ago, Stefanski had no problem laying out the quarterback pecking order. He was direct, assertive, and left no room for guesswork.
Do you have any health update on Kenny and Shedeur? Do you expect them to increase their level of participation in practice this week?
I hope so. We really have to take those day by day, so I don't know where that ends up towards the end of the week, but I'm hoping.
Now, he won't even confirm who's in the top 3. It's not just a shift in tone. It's a complete reversal. And this sudden hesitation hasn't gone unnoticed. Analysts are questioning whether Stefanski's trying to delay the inevitable. A public demand for Shedeur to start. Every answer he gives seems carefully calculated, as if he's walking a tightrope between keeping control of the narrative and avoiding a full-on fan revolt. Some believe he's trying to protect the locker room. Others think he's just trying to avoid making a decision he knows will explode either way. But one thing is certain, the more he avoids talking about Shedeur, the more it seems like Shedeur is the real issue he doesn't want to face. Kevin Stefanski keeps falling back on one excuse, that every decision is based on player development. That sounds good on paper, until you take a closer look. Because if development is the goal, why is the one quarterback who actually looks ready being sidelined?
Because all I know is that what I keep hearing is what you're telling me what he can't do. Like my coach just said in college, hey, find something that he can do. See, you keep telling me what Shedeur can't do. Well, your job as a coach is to put players in position and find something that they can.
Shedeur Sanders hasn't just shown flashes of talent, he's delivered the most electric plays of the preseason. And yet, somehow, he hasn't taken a single snap with the first-team offense. Zero real opportunities to build chemistry. No chance to earn the role many believe he already deserves. Meanwhile, players like Dillon Gabriel are getting extended time despite underwhelming results. Gabriel's reps are stacking up, even as he struggles to move the chains. If this is about developing the best roster, why is the guy with the most upside watching from the sidelines? Every time Stefanski is asked about it, he drifts into vague coach speak. We're evaluating. Everyone's getting their turn. We're doing what the team needs. But none of those answers explain the most obvious question. What exactly does Shedeur need to do to be treated like a serious option? Because from the outside, it's starting to look less like development and more like deliberate delay.
In terms of his post-game interview, with all of the mistakes that we saw, with the turnovers in the first half, there was clearly
If there's one thing Kevin Stefanski has mastered this preseason, it's saying a lot without actually saying anything. Every time he's asked about the quarterback situation, his responses sound more like a politician than a head coach, filled with vague optimism and delayed promises. It'll be decided in a couple of days. We're still looking at everything. We'll do what's best for the team. Those are answers. They're stall tactics. And the timing is impossible to ignore. Just as fans begin demanding clarity, Stefanski leans deeper into ambiguity. Instead of stepping forward and naming who's leading this team, he backs away, hoping the storm dies down on its own. But Browns fans aren't buying it anymore. And frankly, neither are the players. Quarterback is the most critical position on the field. It sets the tone for the entire roster. So when your head coach won't even commit to a pecking order 2 weeks before the season opener, it doesn't inspire confidence. It triggers suspicion. Is Stefanski really evaluating, or is he just avoiding? Because at this point, it feels less like game planning and more like hiding. And the longer he waits, the louder the noise around Shedeur gets. Just when the pressure to play Shedeur Sanders reached its peak, he was suddenly reported as injured. The official word? Arm soreness. The timing? Suspicious. Coaches claimed it was nothing serious and would be reevaluated the next day. But that next day came and went, and Shedeur was nowhere near the field. No throw count, no visible rehab, just total silence. And that's where the suspicion started. Was it a genuine injury or a manufactured pause, a convenient reason to keep him out of the spotlight just a little longer? Because let's face it, the optics of Shedeur outshining everyone while being ranked QB4 weren't exactly working in Stefanski's favor. An injury gave him the perfect excuse right when fans and reporters were turning up the heat. Even more strange, Dillon Gabriel and Pickett were both banged up too, but they were still listed higher than Shedeur on the depth chart. Why? How? To fans, it feels like this so-called arm soreness was less about player health and more about controlling the narrative. And if that's true, what are they trying so hard to cover up? Of all the red flags this preseason, none flew higher than the depth chart reveal. And this wasn't just a questionable call. It was a message. Despite showing more poise, more playmaking, and more upside than anyone in the room, Shedeur Sanders was listed as QB4. Not second, not even third, fourth. Behind Dillon Gabriel, who's been shaky at best. Behind Kenny Pickett, who was also dealing with an injury. Behind guys who hadn't done half as much, and in some cases hadn't even played. So let's ask the obvious. How does an injured Shedeur, who reportedly has only arm soreness, get ranked below two quarterbacks also dealing with injuries? That depth chart didn't just confuse people. It confirmed fears. For fans, it felt like a clear effort to keep Shedeur out of the conversation, to erase his name from the quarterback race altogether. And from the outside, it looked less like strategy and more like sabotage. Because if performance matters, Shedeur should have been rising. Instead, he's being buried. And the team's silence on why only added fuel to the fire that's now threatening to burn even brighter. If there's one player benefiting the most from Kevin Stefanski's quarterback shuffle, it's Gabriel, and that's exactly what's setting fans off. Gabriel was handed the keys against a first-team defense, backed by top-tier protection. That should have been his breakout moment. Instead, he played like someone afraid to mess up. Every throw was safe, every decision cautious. He wasn't trying to move the chains. He was trying to survive. And sure, playing it safe might look smart on paper, until the pressure cranked up. Once the first-team defense rotated out, and the protection wasn't elite anymore, Gabriel crumbled. Fumbled snaps, sloppy turnovers, zero poise. The moment things got messy, so did he. But maybe the worst part? His post-game attitude. Analyst Chris Canty said it bluntly. Gabriel could never be a franchise quarterback. Why? Because he didn't just fail on the field, he failed in the locker room. Instead of taking responsibility, Gabriel shifted blame. There was no accountability, no fire, no leadership. Compared to Shedeur, whose press conferences show composure beyond his years, Gabriel looked lost, and worse, he sounded like it. The truth is clear, he's not that guy. So why is Stefanski still treating him like he is? At this point, the biggest obstacle in the Browns' quarterback room isn't the players. It's Kevin Stefanski himself. His reluctance to name a starter, his vague pressers, and his constant dodging of direct questions have created nothing but chaos. Instead of tightening the ship, he's let cracks form all around it. And worse, he's given every reason for fans to think this controversy is deliberate. Every depth chart shuffle, every delayed injury update, every awkward pause when Shedeur's name comes up, it paints a picture of a coach who isn't coaching. He's managing public perception. And the optics aren't just bad, they're damaging. The team looks uncertain, the fan base feels ignored, and the locker room? That's a whole other problem waiting to explode. Whether it's personal, political, or just plain fear of rocking the boat, Stefanski's approach has left one undeniable impression. He doesn't want to deal with Shedeur Sanders. Maybe it's the pressure. Maybe it's the media circus. Or maybe it's because if Shedeur steps up, others lose their spot. No matter the reason, the silence is deafening. And with Week 1 looming, the Browns don't just have a quarterback problem. They have a leadership crisis. At this point, it's impossible to ignore the pattern. Kevin Stefanski says the quarterback competition is about finding the best fit. But if that's true, why does the most promising talent keep getting sidelined? Gabriel has had chances, multiple. And every time, he's either played it too safe or completely unraveled under pressure. His leadership? Questionable. His performance? Shaky at best. Meanwhile, Shedeur Sanders, who's flashed confidence, composure, and real potential, is repeatedly overlooked. Injuries pop up out of nowhere. Depth charts change with no clear logic. And every press conference turns into a dance around the one topic Stefanski just won't face head-on. It doesn't feel like strategy anymore. It feels like avoidance. And whether fans are reading between the lines or not, the message is clear. Something's being hidden. So now we're left with more questions than answers. Is Kevin Stefanski truly doing what's best for the team? Is Gabriel being protected despite proving otherwise? And most of all, is Shedeur Sanders being intentionally held back? Because Cleveland doesn't just deserve a quarterback with talent, they deserve a team that's willing to embrace it. So now, we turn it over to you. Do you think this is smart coaching or sabotage from the top? Has Dylan earned the job, or has Shedeur been denied his shot? And if nothing changes before week 1, how long before this quarterback controversy blows up in everyone's face? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because one thing's for sure, whatever's going on in Cleveland isn't just football anymore.